growth target now. Can you tell us what was the last UK government to have a growth target?
Well, there have been various targets of various governments over the years.
Specifically an economic growth target, because there was only one just recently. It was Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng had a growth target. And so is that a strange precedent to follow?
No, I've never quarrelled with the argument that what we need is growth. But you've got a direct comparison there. You've got a kamikaze approach that disregards all of the institutions, has not got a stable strategic plan behind it with Liz Truss, and had the obvious consequence of doing huge damage to our economy, or the Labour alternative, which is a fully thought through strategic plan that will be implemented in partnership with business. And you've seen, I think, today, the appetite there is for businesses. They want certainty. That's the complete opposite of what they've got from this government.
Have you seen, what would happen if you did actually achieve that growth target? Because it's quite ambitious to be, you want to be the highest GDP per capita in the G7. If you actually achieved that, what kind of a place would this be? What would the numbers look like in 10 years' time?
Well, what I want to see is raised living standards across the country. So in many places, the discussion in the local pub or cafe will not be about the strategic plan for growth, but it will be about my living standards. How well off am I? Am I able to do those extra things that I want to do with my family? Am I seeing it reflected in my high street? Can I see my public services working better for me, my family and my community? So that's why I've said our model of growth has to be growth everywhere, but it has to be laser focused on living standards, which I think across the country most people would say, I desperately need my living standards raised.
And you'll say, so living standards, GDP per capita?
Yes.
And where does the UK kind of stand with other countries potentially on that?
Well, GDP per capita is one of the factors or growth measures that we're going to put into place, but there are others, including living standards across the country. So it's very important that this is a plan for growth which is across the whole of the United Kingdom, brings everybody with it, and all individuals and families can see the effect it's having on them at the end of the month when they've got more money, they're able to do more things they want to do and take our country forward.
I just asked because if you did hit that, and if we had the highest rate of growth in the G7, over the recent years, we would still be overtaken by Poland in 2037. So even this very ambitious target doesn't necessarily look good in respect to that statistic that you're talking about quite a lot today.
What I sense very strongly from many, many businesses and chief executives, both of companies here in the UK and globally, is that there's a huge appetite to invest. What they say to me is, the inhibitor of that is the lack of stability. We've been through 3 prime ministers and 4 chancellors in 12 months. That doesn't create the conditions for stability. So I want growth that is strategic, that is long-term, and where our ambition is to have the highest sustained growth in the G7. And I don't apologise for that ambition because it translates into higher living standards for millions of people across the country.